All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello, hello. Welcome to Dentistry Gone Wild, the official podcast of mobile and teledentistry. I am so excited to be here with you on another Monday, along with my co-host, my beautiful Sonya Dunbar. Hey, Sonya.
Hey, Em, how are you?
I am doing good. It's warm outside. I'm going to say this every year, but when it's warm, I get happy. Anything above like 60 degrees, like, okay, I'm in heaven there, right?
Well, listen, like I said yesterday, it was like 98 degrees here in Florida, so it's pretty toasty. But
I like it.
that's the reason I moved from Michigan to Florida.
Yeah.
So I'm not complaining. But listen, today to our amazing audience, we have the perfect person on here for you today. Now, whether you're brick and mortar or you're mobile, this person, our guest, Mrs. Washington, is going to drop some nuggets to help each of us make some money. So, Ms. Washington, tell us about what you do and welcome to our show today.
Thank you, ladies. I'm so happy and blessed to be here today. I appreciate the invitation. My name is Sherrine Washington. I'm a master sales trainer and coach, and I work with high performance practices and train treatment coordinators and dentists how to close 5-figure cases on the same day of the consultation, paid in full. That's what I'm known for.
That's amazing.
Paid in full.
Paid
Now,
in full.
now, so what are you rubbing a genie bottle? Do you have a tooth fairy wand? Because we all want to know how we can get stuff paid in full. But before you jump into that, Mrs. Washington, how did you get started doing this? Because you said you're the master at this. So I need to know how you became the master blaster. Okay?
I did
So
say
talk.
that, didn't I?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So most people know me from my career at Clear Choice. I was one of their top producers there. I worked at Clear Choice, and I've sold over $30 million in dental implants. But, by far, I contribute my sales methodology, which is totally different from what I learned as Clear Choice. I was a cognitive behavioral therapist for 10 years. So I have a master's degree in social work. And so my sales process, my sales methodology, Real Talk Selling, truly teaches treatment coordinators and dentists how to tap into the mind of their patient, really peel back the layers of the onion, get to the core root of why patients are there. Because I'm a firm believer that a patient does not go into a dental office to take care of their treatment, to buy the actual treatment itself. What patients are there for are for their dreams and for their vision and all the things that they have not been able to do as a result of their dental situation. So I take my clinical background and I put a twist on the sales process so that dentists can see what they're doing is not necessarily selling, but serving and serving their patients
Wow.
properly.
Not selling, but serving. I like that. And what were you about to say?
I love it. I think we've had conversations like this before, Sherrine, but I feel like in dentistry, there's two things that are going on. One, we've forgotten how to connect with the patient. But two, we're also afraid to sell to the patient. And so you bring these both together in one. And I want to experience it actually. Like I might have to take your course or whatever you're offering because I want to know what makes you different from the other sales platforms and theories out there. And I have a feeling that it's your cognitive therapy background, right?
Yeah, and listen, hey, we can role play this out. And if you want to experience it, we can do that here for people to actually see. Um,
Okay.
but one of the things that I think the first thing is we need to get out of the mindset as an industry that sales is a bad word because it is not. Essentially, every business that is operated, we're in some type of sales capacity. So I think we need to get the idea out of our minds that sales means we're backing somebody into a corner, we're pushing them in there, we're pressuring them. When treatment coordinators and doctors take my online boot camp, what they ultimately find in due time is that when they tap into really what the patient is there for, they actually don't even have to ask patients to move forward. When they get to the end of the process, what patients will say is, what's the next step? What do I do? Because we've uncovered all of the reasons why they should do it. The amount is just the amount. The treatment amount is just the treatment amount. when we really tap into what it is that they've missed out on life and all the vision and getting married and having children and being able to, kiss their spouse again for the first time in 20 years. That's how they spend 30, 40, 50, 60, $100,000, right? And so it's not about biting into an apple, eating a steak, eating corn on the cob at somebody's family reunion. No, we go far beyond that. And it takes time. And so any doctor who works with me has to be willing to revamp their process, slow things down, because we're always in a rush, right? Slow things down and listen with the intent to understand.
That's amazing. Now, tell me this, is sales and marketing the same thing?
I mean, they're intertwined,
Mhm.
when I see, in the dental industry, you have a company that markets for you. So there's some sales involved with that, because the sales process in dentistry starts long before a patient walks through the door, right? It starts the moment that the patient journey begins, which is Googling, finding the website. So that is sales in some capacity. But where most dental offices fall short is really embracing patients and seizing the opportunity to get patients at first substantial contact, which is when they call the office.
Mm.
And so I train front office coordinators or treatment coordinators if they're answering the phone, because many of them wear multiple hats, how to slow things down, to ask questions such as, especially when we're hearing that it might be a 5-figure treatment, we've got to treat that patient differently. The level of sophistication in having a conversation when we believe it's going to be $10,000 or more has to be different in comparison to how our competitors do it. So I teach them how to listen for certain nuances, certain things that they say, and to be willing to go deep, to slow down, and to ask those questions to make sure that if we hear that there's a significant other, so that we can minimize the chances of hearing, I need to go home and think about it, that there's verbiage that we say to someone, is there a decision maker? Is there a significant other that's going to be helping you with this? Here's what I recommend. We need to have that, your spouse there, right? So it's making sure that we break all barriers so that we can minimize those objections at the very end of the process.
That's good. That's really good. Now, Sherrine, you and I and Melissa have spoken about this before, because we are the National Mobile and Teledentistry platform here. We're Dentistry Gone Wild. So I want to kind of swipe this around to mobile dentistry a little bit.
Yeah.
How can the mobile clinician that's maybe going to someone's home or going to someone's place of work and doing like corporate mobile dentistry, how can they incorporate that into the program, or does it fit? Is because you said you have to slow it down? Oftentimes when we're mobile, we're kind of moving fast. So just if you could give us, draw a picture for us with that.
Yeah. So that's an interesting question, because I actually thought about that. So when I work with the practice, before we even jump into role playing and figuring out skills and handling objections and how to close, I take a holistic approach, because a lot of missed opportunities and blind spots exist within the actual location, the practice, how we take patients, where are we moving patients? Are we taking patients from the front, then moving them to this chair, then moving them back there? Are we moving patients more than 3 times? Because if we're moving patients more than 3 times, that could actually hurt our close rate. Is our consultation room set up so that it is patient centric? Okay, where it speaks to the patient? Or do we have a bunch of diplomas and credentials on the wall instead of something that's motivational, right? And so when I think about mobile dentistry, the setting I think is going to be really important, because I believe we're going to be limited on space. So I do what's called a consultation room makeover with all my clients. And I say,
that.
yeah, if I'm not there, I need you to do it. Take your phone. Let me see how your office is set up. And usually the chair placement is off. We don't have anything that speaks to dreams or anything motivational on the wall. We fail to light a candle. So I'd be, in a mobile setting, I think it's even more important. When patients are coming into the mobile unit or the vehicle, where are they talking about treatment? How is that area set up? Is it in a private enough area that you can have a robust financial conversation and dig deep? So I think if price points are over, if they're 5 figures, I would say we got to make sure that even regardless of how big or small it is, that we set up an area that is conducive for patients to feel comfortable to talk about what they don't typically want to talk about, which is money. Right. And were you going to say something?
I was going to say, then for the mobile clinician, if they don't have that time, that would probably be something they would probably need to do over Zoom.
Absolutely. So then if we don't have the time to do it in person, then yes, then we might need to do more of a phone consultation, right? Where what would normally happen in person, we would do that over the phone. And that may take 20 minutes. And not 20 minutes of just talking investment, but 20 minutes of getting to know the person, breaking barriers, really figuring out what the patient is hoping for. Because I do believe patients do know what they want. We just fail to present treatment that's representative of what they want and what they can afford.
Yeah.
So we may have to have that conversation over the phone, establish some rapport, improve and increase the probability that they will show up and be ready to move forward, so that when they come in, it's almost like they're looking for that provider. Oh, was that, did I talk to you? You were the one that told me about your kid. Yeah. That is what is missing. People need to find that connection. So I wouldn't let a mobile vehicle be a barrier. Just have to do things a little bit differently, right? Be creative.
I love that. There have been so many dental practices, whether mobile or fixed, that I have worked in, where the setup is usually, okay, you figure out what the patient needs while they're in the chair. You present the treatment plan to them while they're in the treatment chair. You talk about the money while they're in the treatment chair. And then you try to get to work that day. So I assume, based on what you've said, Sherrine, that this may not be the best approach. What are your thoughts to that?
Yeah, well, here's my thoughts on this. I think that most dental practices are doing case presentation wrong. They're doing what I call cold case presentation, where the patient comes in, they see everyone under the sun besides the treatment coordinator. They see the assistant, the hygienist, the doctor. They're 50 minutes in and they're tired. And the doctor presents the treatment. No one cares to ask whether or not the patient even knows what was said or being presented. And then we bring the treatment coordinator in cold, meaning the patient doesn't know the treatment coordinator. They see the treatment coordinator as the money person.
That's it.
And then by that time, the patient, they're hungry, they haven't been to the restroom, nobody takes to ask.
I didn't even think about stuff like that, but it's true.
And then they're seeing, like, their eyes are glazed over. So the treatment coordinator comes in, and treatment coordinators tell me that they hear the patient say, uh-oh, here's the money person. They even say it. Yeah. The treatment coordinator comes in with the piece of paper, because I train treatment coordinators to present treatment with no paper, nothing in hand. They show the paper, and what happens when you look at a piece of paper? You're not even listening.
All the way down to the bottom.
Yes, all you're doing now is what? 20,000? What? Like, I don't even hear anything. And then the patient says, I need to, those deadly words, I need to go home and think about it. Well, wouldn't you want to go home and think about it if you've been there for an hour and you're tired and you're hungry and you're thirsty and somebody just told you an amount that you can't even wrap your mind? We're doing it wrong. Or, this is even worse, the doctor finishes, they go get the treatment coordinator, they take the patient out of the room to walk down a hallway to a consult room, and the patient has their jacket and their purse.
They ready to go.
Which means what? I'm done. And then we wonder why we can't close. So even that is a blind spot.
That is. I never thought
major
about
blind
that.
spot. Yeah, it's a major blind.
As you're speaking these things, I'm like, well, yeah, duh. But
It
so
doesn't make sense.
why don't we think
It
about
makes sense.
as practice owners, why don't we think about these things?
Yeah. I always joke about one of my clients. This is Sherrine. I can't close anything. I can't close cases. And so he took me around with his phone. I said, show me the patient is coming from there. And then where are you taking him? So he has the phone. And we're walking down the hallway. I said, stop right there. And I'm looking, the consult room is right before a big exit sign.
I'm gonna run for the exit.
Yeah, I said, you can't present treatment in there. This is why. I said, the person's ready to go.
Oh my
You
goodness.
got to move your room. The next week, he collected 70,000 in revenue.
No.
Just because, just the logistics of where he was moving a patient was all off.
It was off, yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But and Sherrine, thank you, because it's what you've just said. It's the small things, the subliminal things, like the carrying of your coat, the exit sign by the door, coming in with a piece of paper. Because once you bring some paper, I'm going right to the bottom. And I'm gonna see it, and everything else you sound like Charlie Brown, want,
That's it.
like the adults on Charlie Brown. You
Yeah.
know, you never heard the adults; they were just like want. So I'm not even hearing you. I'm talking about that's more than a mortgage to some people. So they're like, I can't do this. So,
Yes.
but thank you for applying those practical skills to everyone's life, to dental life, and how you made it applicable to mobile dentistry. And something you even said when you were talking, because I listened to the small things you said, is there a candle lit, is there inspirational quotes on the wall? All of that make people think, well, listen, all my life I've been wanting to get my mouth fixed. And so I'm feeling warm and fuzzy with the candle. um and because when I go to my hairdresser, she has this little vapor thing that she always plugs in, put this lavender smell in, because I told her, I pay you, my hairdresser is on salary.
Yes.
So if you own salary, I want to be the only one there.
That's
And then
right.
I want that treatment. So she
That,
has my vapors going, and she has the mood going, and I have all your attention. She don't even pick up the phone unless it's her son or something, but I'm paying for you. So if you take someone in a space that's custom to them and their dreams and their future, it just makes sense. You made it practical. And listen, you've taken over the tone of this call with your calmness, because really we be wilding. So but you ain't got the rule up in here, because we're gonna get right back to turned up. But I can see, but I'll let you do your thing, because we invited you. But I can see how you can help practices, because you came on with that social worker voice and that calmness, like you about to get in my head. And you did a little bit. You did a little bit, but I had to snap back. But I could see how you can help dental practices grow, because that's what's important. It's all about growth and bringing in that money and
yeah.
making our patients fulfill their dreams in life. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's it. We got to realize patients, we're not being pushy. People think, oh, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want
Mhm.
to. No, I mean, they're calling us for a reason. They want to be led. So lead them.
I love that.
And we do too much talking. I coached someone recently, and she just kept talking to stop. We don't listen, right? Because we're silence is uncomfortable. People are afraid to be silent, you know? And so I teach treatment coordinators to be comfortable with silence. It's critical, I think, for the treatment coordinators, because you have to figure out your next move, right? So we're afraid that if we're not, just talking, we feel like there's awkwardness, but silence is powerful. And I believe that you have to sit for a moment and just embrace that, challenge that. And patients they'll say the next thing. Like we have to create the space for patients to speak
Mhm.
and for us to listen.
Mhm. I love that. I absolutely love it. One of the things, I know we have to wrap in just a minute here, but one of the things right now for our mobile community, I know there's a lot of conversation around, well, how do you create a similar patient experience as, in a mobile environment or in a portable environment? So if we're taking dental care into a workplace like Amazon headquarters and setting up in the consult room, how do we create that same or a similar kind of patient branding experience as we would as walking into a dental office? And here I am thinking, if we get you involved in that, we can create an entirely different experience, not trying to mimic the dental office, but trying to create an experience for the patient that's safe and comfortable. And, it doesn't have to mimic the dental office. And I think that's what many of us, many mobile providers think. So, um, I would love to see if you're going to be at our conference in March, because I think it could be a great resource for the
Yeah,
mobile providers on the call.
I agree. And I have to admit, I was, really thinking, how does real talk selling fit
Mhm.
in that environment? But I think being able to ask open-ended questions when a patient comes into a mobile facility, to even ask simple questions like, is this your first experience? Let me share with you why we love what we've done here, and highlight it. Like, don't let this be like the big elephant in the room. Like, there's benefits to this, right? We teach in dentistry to give patients a tour. I wouldn't stop that. I wouldn't, right? Create a patient-centric environment and be proud of what you've put together, and don't be afraid to share those benefits, to say, this is what we've done. We're able to change more lives. We're able to meet patients where they are because this is what we have, right? We always can highlight the benefits of what it is that we're doing. And maybe we're not talking about it enough. If someone has a mobile dentistry practice, are we talking about it enough? Are we confident enough with what we've put together?
Mm,
Right?
love that. Well, Sherrine, thank you for being on the call with us. If somebody wants to reach out, where can they find you?
Yep. So they can go right to my website, which is realtalkselling.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm getting myself together on Facebook. I don't have time to do all social media.
TikTok is where it's at now.
But I do offer a complimentary discovery call for the doctor and treatment coordinator. No pressure. It's really for them to get as much value as possible within that time and to see if it's a fit. So, and they can schedule that right on my website, which is realtalkselling.com.
Thank you so much, Sherrine, for being here. And listen, thank you to all of our listeners on today. Thank you for joining us today on Dentistry Going Wild. We hope that you liked our show today, and we ask if you like to click, like, and share this video. Also, subscribe to our channel. Subscribe so you can get Dentistry Going Wild every single Monday for the rest of your life. Isn't that listen, that's amazing. Now, right there. To get this for the rest of your life is something. So thank you for joining us. Stay safe and stay courageous. Bye.
Bye.